Hey guys, I'm Lotta Alamu with Collider Video, and we're here to help you with something that's pretty important, but you know, it's really challenging. Picking what you're gonna watch on Netflix. This is the best movies on Netflix right now. Every week we're giving you 4 recommendations of movies that are available to stream on Netflix right now, along with updates on what's leaving soon and what's due to arrive next month. Let's get to it. Our first recommendation is the film that first put director Christopher Nolan on the map, his second feature, Memento. This 2000 neo-noir psychological thriller is told entirely in reverse, with Guy Pearce playing a man who has no short-term memory and thus can only hold his attention for a few minutes at a time. Oh, and he's hunting for his wife's killer. Nolan's brilliance is already on full display here, as each scene ends where the previous one began until we end at the very beginning of the story. Confused? Well, it is a Christopher Nolan movie, but this Oscar nominee for Best Original Screenplay will have you glued to the screen from beginning to end. Our next recommendation is a throwback comedy that any 90s kid should remember, Heavyweights. Written by Judd Apatow and Stephen Brill, this delightfully silly comedy takes place at a fat camp for kids that quickly becomes more like a prison when fitness guru Tony Perkis, played by Ben Stiller, takes over. This Disney film takes its premise and runs with it as the laughs range from physical gags to surprisingly dark comedy. Packed with early roles for folks like Kenan Thompson and Bridesmaids director Paul Feig, Heavyweights is really just a great comedy for any occasion. Do it to it! Now it's time to check in on what films are coming to Netflix in June. In the mood for Christmas in the summer? Ron Howard's 2000 film How the Grinch Stole Christmas hits Netflix on June 1st with Jim Carrey starring as the titular Grump. Also coming in June is a Netflix original film called Okja. The movie hails from Snowpiercer and the host director Bong Joon-ho and revolves around a young girl who sets out to rescue her giant pet creature from an evil corporation. Tilda Swinton, Jake Gyllenhaal, and Paul Dano lead the film's impressive and diverse ensemble cast, and it arrives on Netflix on June 28th. As for what movies are leaving Netflix, Jimmy Goes to Nollywood expires on June 23rd, while June 24th will see Agent Fox, Breath of the Gods, and Dragon Guardians depart. Jumping back into our recommendations, here's something completely different. If you're up for a horror film of the moody and artistic variety, you can't go wrong with It Follows. The rules for filmmaker David Robert Mitchell's 2014 thriller go like this. You can never completely hide from it, and it will always find you. Unless you pass it on through a sexual encounter, then it follows them instead. With a pulse-pounding score that evokes great 80s horror films, striking cinematography, and a breakout performance from Maika Monroe, It Follows will leave you terrified and astounded in equal measure. A beautiful mix of menace and awe, It Follows is a must-see for horror fans, or really anyone in the mood for a great scary movie. And finally this week, we've got Big Trouble in Little China. This is the 4th collaboration between director John Carpenter and star Kurt Russell following The Thing, an escape from New York, and it finds Russell playing a cheeky truck driver who is thrust into a conflict with an ancient Chinese sorcerer named Lo Pan. This 1986 film is the perfect cocktail of comedy, action, and sci-fi, with Russell subverting expectations as his heroic-seeming Jack Burton is often the least helpful person in the group. This is a formula that would be copied for years to come, but if you want to see where it all started, hit up Big Trouble in Little China on Netflix now. Well, that's it for this week's edition of the best movies on Netflix right now. We'll be back next week with more recommendations. See ya!